try to remember the first time that somebody told you that you are smart or intelligent. And I want you to get back to who was that person and how did that affect you? What were your feelings and your response to it? That moment in your life is very important because it's probably the moment that has set your mindset for the future, and it's probably the mindset that you still have right now. Mindsets are very important because they define, in many ways, we think of intelligence and intellect and talent as something that is handed to us. And what she did in the book was very important because she basically categorized people into two groups: those who have a growth mindset and those who have a fixed mindset. Those who have the way that she identified mindset basically is by understanding what the beliefs about yourself and your most basic qualities are. So how do you think of your intelligence? How do you think of your talents? How do you think of your personality? Is it something that is etched in stone and doesn't change, or is it something that develops with time and changes? These statements though are very risky because they're sending the wrong message to the person who was listening to them, because they're telling them that according to the result that you have, I appreciate the intelligence that you have innately in you, or don't worry about the result, I know that you are intelligent regardless of whether you made an effort or you didn't do an effort. When you tell your child that they are good if they finish fast and they get a good result, you are giving them the sense that they already have something in them and they don't need to work hard for it. So they are afraid and they're not as curious or are not as open with their approach to questions as they should be. And if you look at people with a growth mindset, as they are getting the feedback and you're explaining to them what they did wrong, their brain is lighting up with activity. If you look at the fixed mindset brain, nothing is going on. So as you are telling them what they did wrong, they don't care. And the reason they don't care is all they want to look at is the result. They're either disappointed in themselves or they don't really know or want to know what they did wrong because they don't care about doing what is right. They only care about getting the result and showing that they are smart. The fact that growth mindset people have a big attention to mistakes and they try to learn from their mistakes, and then when they repeat these experiments over and over again, people with a growth mindset, of course, can fix or get better at the tests and the puzzles, while those with a fixed mindset don't. Neuroplasticity was supposed to be happening as a child as we develop, and new research shows that all these changes can still happen throughout adulthood. Interventions have shown that this is a study that was done in school children. What happened was they took two groups, hundreds of students took part of it, and for a whole week they explained to the students how brain development happens, how memory processing happens, and how growth mindset means that they have to make mistakes and that only through their mistakes they can learn and get better. On the other group, they only told them about memory and how brain development happens, but they didn't tell them about the importance of failure and doing mistakes. So basically it was a lesson in biology versus a lesson in a growth mindset. And they found that there was a very significant increase in math and verbal achievement test scores in the students who took the workshop on mindsets. What is also very interesting is that at least studies in the United States, I'm not sure about Latin America, there's always a gap in math test scores between females and males. And females who took the workshop were able to bridge that gap and perform as well as their male classmates. Eric Hofer says that in a time of drastic change, it is the learners who inherit the future. And there is no more drastic change than in digital media and in journalism for you guys. So I just wanted you to ask yourself these questions about how does the growth mindset affect you face stereotype threat, given that you are women in a domain or a field that is dominated by males. So how do you make this shift? The first way to do that, or the first step towards doing that, is to recognize the voice. Recognize the voice that is telling you you're not good enough, that you can't do this, that you're going to embarrass yourself, that maybe you're not going to ask a good question, maybe you can keep it to yourself and try to understand it on your own. Recognize that voice and know that it is normal and that it happens, and the only thing that you can do to face it is to recognize the choice that you have. The fact that you can make that choice. You are not intelligent or not intelligent enough, talented or untalented. It's all in your hands and you have to make the choice. And if you make the choice, you have to fail and you have to make mistakes. Success happens by training and by practice. But it's also very important to understand how tough it is to avoid positive praise and to avoid positive judgment. And that's why it's very important for us, when you are doing something good, to always step aside and see what it is that you're not doing as well. And that's the only way for us to progress and to do better. And that's the only way to actually do change, make change on the biological level, physiological level, and to change the world around you. And that's all I have for now. I hope it's beneficial.